I played Fable 3 first when I started. Also, you gotta do the intro, right? This is what people want. Is the fucking intro. But anyway, I played Fable 3 and I thought 3 was fine when I played it first. Apparently, a lot of people hated 3, but when I played it, I think this was like 2013. I mean, it wasn't that we weren't in the age where if Angry Joe hated a game that you probably would never play to begin with, you would hate a game because he hated the game. And I can agree with a lot of things, but again, if I played a game and liked it, I mean, what do you want from me? I mean, I can lie to you and tell you what you want to hear, but you wouldn't exactly appreciate that now, would you? I played 3, but then I played 2, and I 100% agree that 2 was objectively better than 3. Right, but then I jumped to 1, and I don't think I ever really finished the first one. And what made Fable good was, the fact that it had its own art style, had its own magic, its own lore, and you felt like you were playing medieval Albion and you were the chosen one. And it's that feeling in games that are is kind of just being eroded. Like, look, in fantasy, people want to play the important character that changes the course of history. And this is my problem with like Starfield is that they did everything in their power not to make you the main character. Even though you did relatively impressive things, and I'm talking in the main missions, I'm not talking about flying about doing random shit, but you still weren't the main character, and it's like, okay, do you understand why people play fantasy? And a lot of like older fantasy games didn't really have good stories, but what they did have was interesting worlds, interesting characters, interesting mechanics, interesting art style, paths you can take that change the course of how you play the game or what you did. All these things that okay, maybe the story was written by a 5 year old. It's like, oh, your family died, and you're trying to get revenge on on the people that did this. So you journey out in the world and you do like thousands of hours of side quests and completely fucking forget until you get that climax and you kill them in the end and you fight the Dark Lord. Like these are like tropes, but what mattered was the journey and not exactly the conclusion. If the journey was bad, boring, and bland, and if the characters were bad, boring, and bland, I mean, it taints everything else in a game. And it's odd that I even typed in Fable, and I'm not even getting the reboot. Like, I guess this is the reboot. But this is the first one. There's 1, 2, and 3. This is the anniversary, right? And then you get to whatever the fuck this is. One, they've completely changed her face because they knew people would get pissed off, right? But again, I'm looking at this, and this is just something you look at and you're like, you know what? Well, this is the online game, which is. I don't really care for the Fable online. Like, I think it was just chasing a fucking trend. But you see this, and you're like, this bitch looks like she has Down syndrome. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever, it's a Fable. But if you want medieval fantasy, I mean, what people want in their fantasy is hyper masculine characters and sexy female characters. I mean, I guess this is difficult to understand because the people over this company and the people that defend these things have a worldview where if you point this out, they just act irrational towards you. The person who plays these games is like, yes, I want hot female characters in my game. Yeah, I know it doesn't exist, but I want it. So you give it to me or you don't get my money. And then people get mad that they're not getting your money. Like, I looked at the trailer, and at least from the first trailer to the second, they removed like half of the customizations for the character. And I'm like, why? Now it's all just a bunch of presets. And they show barely action, but most of it is just the developers talking. He's like, I don't care what you say, right? Like, I get it. The point is to hype me up. But I want to see it. And to be fair, the world does look like Fable, but I hate that they've. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing what's happening to every other fantasy game where they're all being funneled into a single art style, which is realism. But then I look at the older games and I'm like, well, I like this art style better. Even though it's not realistic, and this is the anniversary, so obviously it has a bunch of graphical upgrades. This looks like the older. Like, okay, no, this is also the anniversary. Like I'm even trying to look at the art style from older Fables. That's not the fucking. This doesn't look like the anniversary. Like, this looks cool. Oh no, this is the anniversary. God damn it. And again, I said this in my fantasy is dead and we've killed it video. Like, fantasy is dying because people would rather tell their story in a fantasy setting. Like, they'd rather tell their story that's made by committee and not by one person with a vision in a fantasy setting instead of a fantastical story in a fantasy setting. So you just get a bunch of like things that are like, okay. And like what I hear in the game and what I've seen is you have the peasant that talks shit to you. And I'm like, in medieval Europe, if the peasant talks shit to the Lord, they would just behead them and take their land. But in this one, I doubt you can do anything about it. It's like, why? And again, there's a couple of things that are like, okay, I guess that is also Fable. But I just can't get over, one, the look of the character. Like, this bitch looks like she has Down syndrome. And two, just them just effectively removing the original art style in place for realism. Like, this looks like 7 other fucking fantasy games. And I get it, I don't know if it's in the Unreal Engine. But, and the fact that they removed a lot of presets and a lot of customization. And the fact that it's Xbox, and look, Xbox is a dying gaming company. Like, I doubt they'll even have a console in the future. They'll just move straight to the fucking, the subscription thing. And they had like one game in the direct that looked cool. And every other game looked bad. Look, I don't care if there's a person of color in the game. It's fantasy. I'd rather they explain the fact that he's here. Like, maybe he's from a completely different fantasy fucking tribe of people that came in. But they're not story. Like, I doubt anyone that actually can craft a good story is left in Fable. All that's left is, executives and the sales managers and the people that actually code the game don't really have a say in a fucking thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But again, it's I'm looking at the older games versus what the newest is, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I like that they kept aspects of the game where you can like buy out shit and piss people off. But at least in the second one, I played the late game where you get that castle and you have your wife in it, and depending on what you choose, she will die. Or like the third one, like this is how people played the game, right? They would buy shit out, get a lot of money, like they would just play the system. And sometimes they were the good guy, sometimes they were the bad guy, sometimes you just kill everybody. But that's what made Fable Fable. I doubt they have the grit and the crudeness. Like, I think in the second one, you could hire prostitutes, get STDs, because that's just the way you could play, and I doubt they'd have that in the game. And the argument is, oh, why do you care? And it's like, okay, because it's Fable. Why remove it? Why remove the hot female characters and add whatever the fuck this abomination is? And people are like, well, mods will fix it. It's like, look, if you're going to demand $70 from people for this game, spend hundreds of millions of dollars, you better be giving people what the fuck they want to begin with, or you're not getting my money. Or I guess it'll be on Game Pass, so it'll be free for people who are content with not owning their games. So I don't know. And then they'll do the things like, oh, we have this many players. It's like, okay, so how many sales do you have? Oh, we have this many players. It's like, cool. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.